Today is Tuesday, therefore it is our International Young Tellers, and it's this time of year. It's always a bit hit and miss who comes in. There's school holidays, etc. Kenza from Italy was with us a moment ago. Hopefully she will be back. Yasname from Punjab usually comes in. She said she was going to be here this week. So, and as soon as everyone's back, I'm going to leave the amazing Mike Wood to host the show while I stop annoying everyone in this railway carriage. So
thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Can I leave it in your capable hands?
Thank you very much, John. That's great. That's great. Well, I was just speaking to.
I'll just say what's coming up. This Friday we've got Norman Perrin is our children's storyteller, telling stories for children at 6 o'clock this Friday, which will be exciting. And as soon as I get back to my diary back that I failed to take to Marrakesh with me, I'll work out the following Fridays. Meanwhile, there is the worldwide story round in 2 Sundays' time. So whatever it is on the 20-something will be our worldwide story round at 7 o'clock in the evening. So, but I'll let you know, Jill, when that is. Maybe you can come on to that.
Okay.
Have
John,
a great show.
Thank you, John. So Mike Beckett is John. Hello, Mike. Welcome. Welcome, Mike. We did have Kenza pop in very briefly, so hoping that she will be able to rejoin. I'm sitting in the cafe in Marrakesh, and we were just chatting with Jill, pending our young tellers arriving, about our plans for next year's festival. So if I can, I'll maybe repeat that, because we've just gone live on Facebook, and I know some of our audience are there, and they'll be interested to hear that news as well while we're waiting for young tellers. So at the end of the 2nd edition of our festival in February, we shared the intention to become biennial, so that the festival would run every 2nd year, which would have meant that early 2005 was our next edition. However, we've had some rather exciting and wonderful news in that Marrakesh has been named the City of Culture for the Islamic world in 2024. And obviously, it would not make any sense for that festival to happen without a storytelling component. So that's changed our thinking. We haven't been able to confirm a date yet, because there will be a schedule of events. There'll be a lot of events happening in Marrakesh, and we need to take our place in that schedule. So we've requested early in the year, sort of January, February, March, and we're waiting. And realistically, it probably won't be until September that we get that news. So we will have 3 months to put our festival together, which is about considerably longer than our first festival, which we did in 3 days. So that's the update. And Jill was saying that she was excited to come to Marrakesh anyway, and we would be excited to welcome you, Jill, anyway. And just a reminder that the World Storytelling Cafe in Marrakesh, which I'm sitting in right now, and Waleed is here with me, and the rest of the lovely team here, is actually open all year. And we have live storytelling here every day. Visiting tellers are welcome to tell. The vast majority of our storytelling is actually not broadcast on the internet. The big majority of it happens here locally and in local schools and other local venues. So please, ideally, let us know in advance so that we can let people know and program you into what we're doing in terms of publicity and so on. But in any event, if you're a teller or you're interested in telling Marrakesh, then visiting the physical cafe is a must. So did you have any questions, Jill? I think I've got my eye on the waiting room. Kenza hasn't popped back in. So
I was curious. I'm going to get on Facebook with John, but I also was curious how I could stay in touch with you, because it seems you're in Marrakesh. I don't know if John is.
I mean, John was in Marrakesh this morning. We're both
Okay, good. And
Exactly.
yeah, that,
So we're one team really, you know, and I think that's the beauty.
okay, good. Yeah,
the
I'm
beauty
just
of
getting
the
to
world.
know everyone.
I,
Mhm.
I'm
Great, thank you.
primarily in the UK actually, so and we have regulars from literally all over the world. So we're a global community. I think that's one of the things that makes the festival so exciting. Really, is that
I bet.
it's an opportunity for our online community to, you know, to come together in person. So there's a lots of things that give the festival a positive energy, but that's one of them.
Great, thank you.
How are you, Mike?
Really good. I was thrilled to hear your news. That's brilliant.
No, it is exciting, isn't it? Yeah. I hope you'll be able to join us, all being well.
Fingers crossed.
And I'll cross for you too.
Thank you, Jill. It's always the finances the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're able to, I mean, we'd be delighted to extend an invitation, which means that when you're here, your accommodation and your transport around the city and your food would be provided. But you're right, transport is the big obstacle, particularly for tellers who are coming from further away. And that's one of the things actually which we're keen to have. If we could have the festival in January, that would be ideal, because airfares are actually quite a bit more reasonable then. So you get the £100 return or something from the UK, and I know from the States it's still $1,000 probably, but it would be very helpful for our European based tellers anyway. So yeah, any more questions, Jill? Since we've got a minute or two, I've got my eye on the way. Moment, if Kenza pops in, I will jump straight to her.
Not that I can think of at the moment, but I just, yeah, if there's any way I can help, I did already mention that, but I would really love to do that. And I know in my community, one of the things, it doesn't raise a lot of money, but it's in a particular spot in upstate New York where there's a lot of amazing arts and artists. And so we're kind of all in the habit of doing benefits for different things to happen.
That's well, I think it sounds like as though, you know, fundraising to help you to attend would be wonderful, and you can then spread the word and, you know, attend the workshop.
Yeah.
You know, that another thing which would be helpful is if there are young tellers, and we have a pretty broad definition, so anybody who's learning the trade is under 25, you know, would be welcome to come. There will be, you know, a supportive audience for them, and the opportunity for some really wonderful senior tellers to coach them along. So if you know, it sounds like there may well be young tellers in your community, and so
yes,
and spread the word about our Connecting the World by Story round, which happens normally once a fortnight. In the summer we've dropped it back to once a month, but that's on Sunday evenings, hosted by Mike Rust, and Mike loves it, and he starts at 6 p.m. UK time, which is 1 p.m. for East Coast
United States,
and he will stay until everybody is told. He absolutely loves it, and so anybody who comes along who wishes, listeners are also welcome. Anybody who wants to tell on those sessions will find a very supportive audience there as well. So please spread the word. You know, I think that's how how the wonderful community has grown.
Thank you. Yeah.
So tell me where in upstate New York are you more precisely? I'm always interested.
I'm near. I'm about 2 hours north of Manhattan, and it's near Woodstock, New York, which people sometimes have heard of. But Saugerty, it's in the Catskills.
Okay.
It's in the Catskills.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Called Hudson Valley, this whole area.
Have you been there recently, Jill, or has that been home for a long time?
My son was 3 and now he's 30. No, was 7 when we moved for good, and now he's 35.
Wow.
So not so recently.
So you put down some real roots there then, which is wonderful.
Yes, I have. Yes. Mhm.
That's great. That's great. We have, I'm sure, have you met Baba C, who's a regular here? Baba's based in Washington, DC.
No.
Okay,
No.
well, I'm sure you'll have that pleasure before long.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a little distance from me, but not as far as Marrakesh. Yeah.
You never misses an
Well, you
opportunity.
know, there is a big renaissance, I think I would call it, for storytelling in the United States in the 70s. And there were three women that really sparked it. Laura Sims was one, her name is, and Joya Timpanelli and this woman, Diane Walkstein. And before, I was very young then, but before that time, it wasn't really a profession. Like people didn't have jobs doing it. And they really opened the door for that. And Joya Timpanelli lives right near me. We've become very good friends. And Laura Sims is still telling. And she is one of the people that when I told her about your festival, she got very excited. And I kind of know her too, not as well as Joya. But anyway, the reason I'm mentioning it is as soon as I said it to her and was telling her that what I want to do, she said, I've always wanted to go to Marrakesh. She said, maybe I'll go with you. So
Well,
these are the kind of little signs that I know maybe she will, maybe she won't, but they're kind of beautiful little signs that something is happening on this end as well as on your end.
That's wonderful to hear, and of course they would be very welcome.
Yes.
John is our curator in terms of putting together the program. And so I'm sitting
Yes.
here. For those of you who are wondering where my beard has gone, John is currently traveling back home from Marrakesh. He's had a week here. Oh, Saeed Omyar. Welcome, Saeed. Here's hoping Saeed is the young teller. Hello. Welcome. I think you're on mute. Hello. I think you may still be on mute. So it's wonderful to have you with us, but I think you're still muted.
I'm here, yes.
Hey, wonderful. Who is that? I'm sure Saeed is the boy's name, so I'm sure that you're borrowing somebody's computer.
Yes.
Wonderful. Who am I speaking to? Hi there. Welcome. What's
It's
your name?
Kenza.
Anymore.
Kenza,
Because
wonderful.
I'm vacation and I didn't enter in this meet. So today I'm here and I'm enter for share a new story.
Wonderful. But go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So today I'm with two stories about Juha, and if you want, I started. So hi everyone, my name is Kenza. I'm 15 years old, and today I'm here to share two stories. So the first story is a one of adventure of Juha. So Juha one day owned a collection of expensive copper utensils, and he decided to leave them with his neighbor for safekeeping while he visited a friend. He was afraid that someone might steal them. After a few days, Juha returned from his trip and went to his neighbor to retrieve his utensils. However, the neighbor put his face on the ground and said the rat had eaten them all. Although Juha did not believe what his neighbor said, he pretended to be sad. So Juha told his neighbor that it was not a problem and went home to think of a way to retrieve his copper utensils. He noticed that his neighbor's son was playing in front of the house. So he took him and looked at him in a room inside the house. So when the neighbor's son was late, Juha started to search it for him everywhere. So when Juha saw him, he told the neighbor that a group of birds had taken his son towards the sky. So the neighbor said that this was unbelievable and that bird could not carry a small child. So Juha replied, if that's the case, how can rats eat the copper utensils? So the neighbor then apologized and returned the copper utensil to Juha. So this is the first story. And I wish you.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
Yes. If you want, I continue for the second story.
Please.
I don't know if, okay.
We'd love that.
So, so the second story is about Juha and the wives. So Juha was sitting with his two wives, chatting, and the wives decided to embarrass him by asking, who do you love more, Juha? And Juha replied, both of you are dear to my heart. The wives then say, you can't fool us with that answer. We have a pool here, and we want you to choose one of us. We will throw into the water. So Juha was stuck and didn't know what to do. But he turned to his first wife and said, remember, you learned how to swim a long time ago, my dear. So this is the second. And I have the third because the second is very short. So I don't know if you want to hear them or.
We'd love to hear the third, but the second was great. Please go ahead.
Okay, so the third story is about same Juha. So one day, Juha went to the market to find something to eat and stopped in front of a shop that sold steak. Juha didn't have the money to buy food, so he approached the shop window, take a piece of bread, and went to the smoke of the meat and placed the bread on it. So then he sat down and started to eat. So when the shop owner went to Juha and asked what he was doing, Juha replied that he was eating a piece of bread. The shop owner then told Juha to follow him to the cart. So when they arrived, the judge asked what was happening. The shop owner told the judge that Juha had eaten a piece of bread with the smoke of the meat in it and not paid for it. So the judge, knowing that Juha was a sly person, and then asked Juha what he thought. Juha then replied, Judge, how much do I owe the shop owner? Then the judge replied, 5 dinars. Juha then said to the judge, can you lend me 5 dinars and I will pay you back? So when Juha take the dinars, then throw the coin on the ground and say to the shop owner, did you hear the sound of the coin? The shop owner replied, yes, and Juha did it 5 times. Tin, 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 and then returned the coin to the judge. Finally, he turned to the shop owner and said, did you hear how many times the coin fell to the ground? Yes, I heard 5 times the coin. So Juha replied, I have paid you with the sound of the coin, just as I eat the smoke of your meat. Thanks.
really amazing, wonderful Johar stories, and I can definitely identify with the shopkeeper there.
Thank you.
That's a tough one. We've got a very international audience today. So I'm sitting in Marrakesh, and Mike Fahty, who has stolen John Rowe's beard, is sitting in England, and Jill is in USA. So that's 3 continents, which is incredible, and our audience on Facebook as well. So I don't know, Mike, would you like to give Kenza some feedback?
Yep, that was a real treat having 3 stories. I always think it's a bit like the Nasruddin stories. You should have 3 or 7 if you're doing Johar, because it's much the same character, isn't it? And quite the similar adventures. They were well told. I getting old and a bit deaf. I didn't altogether catch the punchline to the second one with the 2 wives, but I'm sure it was wise and funny. You told them well.
Yes, because the moral of the story was the 2 wives want to embrace Juha, and then one of asked, well, so if there is a pool, where you putting in? And then Juha replied, so remember, so to the first wife, remember, you learned how to swim a long time ago. So he threw the first wife, and then to embarrass it was the joke. So this is the resume of the story.
Yep, I get it now. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Jill, would you like to
Thank you.
say a word or 2?
Yeah, it's the first time I've heard that kind of story, and I love when you told them how you just kept the pace, you kept it moving so beautifully, you know. It kept my interest, and your energy was so good that you just kept it moving, and at the same time it sounded kind of like a conversation, like you were talking to me. And those were both really wonderful things. And also I love the humor of them. And yeah, I come from not a religious Jewish background, but a Jewish background. And there's also a lot of humor in that. Like, humor is very important.
Yes.
In our culture, and it feels like it was an important part of the stories that you're telling as well. Like a mischievous humor.
Yes.
That kind of humor.
I agree. I agree with that. Thank you.
That's the joy of Johar, isn't it? And we're all very excited, Kenza, about the collection of stories that you're putting together.
Yes.
And looking forward to helping to publish them eventually. So our Marrakesh team is very much aware of that.
Yes, in future with the teacher Manuela Caricalzini, I think I published a book of this collection of the story of Juha that I have that the person on the cafe heard, and then I started to collect in a book, and I wish I published and finished this book after they come to the next year. So this is the plan.
We're very, very excited, and we hope to be able to help you to publish it. And I think what is absolutely wonderful is that your grandmother's story, your grandmother has brought these traditional Moroccan stories to Italy, and that you're now sharing them with the world. And I think and that so many of our tellers, our senior tellers who've been listening to storytellers for such a long time, are discovering new stories from your grandmother and from your grandmother's tradition. So we're all incredibly excited about that, and I think we're particularly excited about bringing them back to Morocco eventually.
Yes. So at this time I'm Morocco, so I'm next to my grandmother because it is in the house. So for me it's a very special moment, and it's so easy for me talk to her and heard the story, and then write it again, and then studied for replay in this cafe. So for me, it's not a simple story, but it's a story with a background meaning for me, because my grandmother helped me a lot. And if one day is not with me, I have memories with me. I have a moment to share with another person. So it's not a simple book or not simple story for me. It's a very meaning. So
That's
I do the
They,
possible for me.
So I
I-
think
I
Yeah,
want to share something with you for a moment, with all of you, but especially with you, saying that the person that I'm hoping to come to Marrakesh with this year because of all your work, her name is Maysoon, and she is Moroccan, but she moved as a young woman to Australia like 10 years ago. And she shared with me, one of the reasons that I want to come is she shared with me that when she was a young girl, her grandmother also shared stories with her, but didn't speak in French or English. And I guess she spoke, I don't know the dialect, but I'm learning a lot, but in Berber, she spoke to her in Maysoon in a language that Maysoon didn't know.
in
But
Amazon,
she was so close to her grandmother. They loved each other so much. And her grandmother knew that Maysoon wasn't understanding every word of the story,
Yeah.
but also felt it was important to tell her those stories. And Maysoon told me that she feels, even though she didn't understand all the words, she got the feeling of the story. She got the gist. And so now Maysoon is beginning to tell stories. She's in her 40s, I think. And she wants to reignite, to find some of those stories again. Also, because of this connection with her grandmother around the
Yeah.
kitchen table.
Yes.
So even though she didn't really know every word, like the connection has stayed with her.
Yes.
And has really inspired her.
Yeah.
So that's very beautiful for both of you. I feel like that you have that
Thank you.
connection.
Thank you. Yes, I agree, because I have a connection with my grandmother, not for this story, but in my real life, because I know it's a beautiful resources that not everyone have, because there is another person that her grandmother didn't see, not because
Mhm.
it's died or anything, and I use the resource then I have. So maybe one day I don't have this resource, and this story for me it's meaning a lot. And I thank my teacher, because every time is helped me, and he's helped me to share this story with and with other person. So I'm very happy.
well, that's absolutely what. Could you please say hello to your grandmother for us all, and also thank you to her for the gift of these stories, because I think we're
Thank
we are all really, really excited. And I think, you know, what's really interesting is that since the beginning of last academic year, English has just replaced French as the first foreign language of choice in Moroccan schools. So I think that we're really excited that with our connections to the Ministry of Education and through the resources of the festival, how amazing would it be if we can bring your grandmother's stories back to a Moroccan audience through the English curriculum. So, I mean, there are quite a few ifs in that sentence, but I think if we can aspire to that, it would just be wonderful, wouldn't it?
you. Thank
Great.
you for everyone.
That's wonderful. So, I mean, what a lovely conversation, as well as three. We're so lucky to have had 3 Johar stories this evening. Mike, would you like to offer us a final word? I think we're probably reaching a natural close this evening.
Yeah, we've not had a lot of tellers, but we had a great teller and some great stories. Thank you very much. And it was lovely to meet you, Jill.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Jill, would you like to say good night?
Yes, just that you all made this afternoon of mine, because it's afternoon here, just so much fuller, and I really appreciate it. And I'm very excited to hear more from you, Saeed, and also the grandmother connection, I think, is a beautiful theme
Fantastic.
to carry with me into the
Okay.
week.
Would you like to say good night to Kenza before we close the meeting room?
I thank everyone for these beautiful compliments, and I thank it a lot. And I thank again and again the whole team of Cafe Storytelling. And I promise I always be every Tuesday. If I want, I come back the next Tuesday. But I'm here to share my story, and this is my objective, and I continue for my streets. And I thank you. I thank everyone a lot, and I wish I continue and published my book. And
Well,
thank you.
That's really, really kind. And honestly, Kenza, the pleasure is all ours. You have nothing to thank us for. What you're giving is absolutely magnificent. So thank you once again, everybody, on behalf of Waleed and the team in the cafe here in Marrakesh. Good night, and what a wonderful evening we've had. And we look forward to more young tellers next week.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.